Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Health and Wealth Podcast with your hosts, Tim and Carter.
What's trending, enrichers? Carter Wilcoxon, founder of CSI Financial Group here, with my co-host and former wealth advisor, Tim James, founder of
chemicalfreebody.com and your new health advisor. This is the show where we reveal the connection between physical and financial abundance.
Hey, welcome back, enrichers. Carter Wilcoxon coming to you live from warm Phoenix, Arizona. It is spring break week out here in Phoenix, Arizona. We just got through not changing our clocks, daylight savings, which I'm going to talk a little bit about an article that I read that I heard today about daylight savings. Interesting to note for our enrichers. And of course, I'm joined today by my co-host, Mr. Chemical Free Body, Tim James himself. Tim James, how are you, my man?
Hey, doing awesome, Carter. Excited to have our guest on, and I have on a very special new shirt. You can't tell the difference?
Oh, I can tell. It's brand new. Yeah, you got the Health Hero hashtag.
You see the shimmer on this bad boy?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I've been working. It's very, like, everything that I do goes against the grain of everything conventionally. So everything becomes very expensive and difficult and hard to do things right and with nature. So, one thing that I wanted to do is I've been wanting to have a swag store for like 2 years. But, with my tech issues, that's all behind me now. We have a swag store about ready to launch. And I found organic cotton shirts because our company's called Chemical Free Body. And the synthetic shirts that are made out of, lycra or nylon or polyester, these are off-gassing these estrogen mimickers into people, and they don't want that. But people don't know about it, right? So if they want to look more into that, they can read the book Killer Clothes. It scare you up a lot like it did me, and then you buy these organic shirts. So now I use natural fiber clothing. But guess what? We have what do we have here? We have a logo. It's been printed on here, right? It was a printing company. Okay. Even the inks, dude, are non-toxic.
Oh, yeah.
This is a completely non-toxic shirt. Even the inks are non-toxic. So that's cool. Actually, I have to get these from Germany. That's where I had to get them from to do it right. So they're quite a bit more money, but when you get them, the quality, when people order them on our swag store, they're going to get it's freaking awesome. I mean, these are it's good, tough cotton and chemical free. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, it was funny because whenever you first came on, and obviously, enrichers, if you're not watching today, make sure to go to our YouTube channel and everything to be able to see this and other previous guests as well. But I could tell that shirt looked a little like fresh and new and everything. So now it all makes sense.
Yeah. And what's it say on the front, Carter?
Love when you poop.
That's what I was gonna say. Hold on. What's the story behind that? That's your slogan, motto?
Well, it's one thing that we say, because for me, I actually was I had really bad gastrointestinal issues 11 years ago when I was 37, and I was bleeding rectally when I pooped, and it was very painful. And then I had acid reflux really bad. I was eating Tums and Rolaids, so I was able to heal myself of all that naturally. On a trip with a friend that had cancer, he was trying to save his butt with cancer. My buddy Charles, he was owned a mortgage company at the time when I was a financial advisor, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll go with you to help you." I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and that's where I learned about man-made toxins and chemicals and just crazy stuff, because you can't see it and you can't see the inside of your gut. But like, I was talking to this guy earlier today, and we were just talking about healthy skin and stuff, and I said, look, if people really want to have beautiful, healthy, glowing skin, then you need to have a beautiful, healthy, glowing intestinal tract. So that's where the focus can be, because the skincare creams, it's a huge market. I know guys do a lot of it. Women spend a lot of money on skincare, right?
Yes.
But the best skincare that will do way better than anything you could possibly purchase. And even though we are coming, Carter, I don't know if you know this, but we have a healing cream coming out. It's ridiculous. Age spots, fine lines, wrinkles, rosacea, all kinds of stuff. But it's going to be skin food. This is edible. You can actually eat it. It's so good for your body because, but if you take care of the inside, it's game over. It's like literally 80% of your quality of your skin is an inside game. So when I was in my 20s, nobody ever told me my skin glowed or anything like that. And then when I got on this lifestyle and changed my life, about 38 till now, and I'm almost 49 in a couple months, I get compliments all the time, and I haven't seen sunshine since like August, dude. And I'm normally I'd be like sheet white, but for some reason I still have kind of a glow to me. It's because I've learned to take care of the intestinal tract. And when you do that, that is your best skin doctor, is yourself. You take care of the gut and you're going to have wonderful glowing skin. Ta-da!
Yeah, so there's the quick backstory. So let's go ahead and enrichers. I know you're hearing a third voice here, and we want to go ahead and bring in our guest today, Blanca Abbud from San Antonio, aka the PEO lady. So Blanca, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. Very exciting introduction. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome having you here. I was excited to have you explain to everybody what PEO is. That's going to be really exciting.
Oh yeah, it's going to be extremely exciting.
Well, it's definitely going to be insightful and hopefully a little bit of excitement as well, right?
We'll follow. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Well, Blanca, thank you for joining us today. And as we always do, the enrichers like to be able to hear your backstory on how you became the PEO lady. So if you don't mind, take us back in the way machine and let us know, what was it that originally got you into, that industry, if you will. And I don't know, is that financial services? Is that health, wellness?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure what industry that's considered.
Yeah. So I don't know how far back you want me to take it, but I really didn't know much about this industry like many people, even though it's been around since the 80s. But I have an undergraduate degree in biochemistry. I'm from El Paso, Texas, originally born and raised. And I moved to San Antonio about 15 years ago, right out of college, kind of exploring different opportunities. Ended up here in San Antonio with a management trainee position at Enterprise. And that was kind of like my foot in the door to get into San Antonio. After that, I did get a job at a bank and I became a personal banker. And so I did manage financial products for individuals back in the day when like banking, you still went to the lobby and you sat around the lobby and, waited to talk to your banker. And then from there, I went on to business banking and business financial services and really managing the full relationship of a client at the bank. After 5 years of doing that, I knew that I wasn't where I wanted to be. I was happy like working at the bank and, my clients loved me. Everything was great, but I felt very capped. And also I felt very like trapped in my office. I never got to move from my office. I ate my lunch at my desk. That kind of tied to your desk kind of job where you're just, it's client after client after client. And so I was just like, man, I know that there has to be something else to this. I don't want to be a business banker forever. And so I kind of put the feelers out there to see what was, what opportunities were out there and just talked to some colleagues. Prior to that, I was in the medical sales industry and I knew a lot of pharmaceutical sales reps and different medical sales reps and just put the word out there that, hey, I'm looking for a new opportunity. Let me know if you hear anything. And I got a phone call. I still remember the day. I got a phone call from a colleague of mine that worked in pharmaceutical sales and said, hey, I have the opportunity for you. I ran into one of my old bosses at a restaurant and she's looking for somebody just like you. She's looking for a sales rep. They're starting their company here in San Antonio and she wants to like interview with you tomorrow. And I said, really? I said, oh my gosh. I said, okay. I said, this is great. This is exciting. Called her, set up the interview, met with her. Still no idea what the industry was about or what I was going to be doing. I just, presented myself well. That was probably the last position that I've had to like really interview for. But back in the day, I had like a brag book. I don't know if people still do that, but so it's basically like a book that you put together and it had like, my awards from the bank, my accolades, my, education, letters from clients at the bank or just different clients that were really satisfied with my service. And so I put it in this book and I got to the interview and I was like, okay, did the interview. And I said, okay, well, I also brought, this book. It's for you to read afterwards. It's called my brag book. And so she said, okay. So she took it and I got a phone call the next day from the area manager. And they were just like, I heard you had the best interview and you brought this brag book. the person you interviewed mailed it to me in Dallas and everybody's looking at it. And I thought it was like the coolest thing that I put this book together. And so I got the second interview and did well. And then they had like some tests that you had to take, took the test. And apparently like I scored the highest that they had seen on this test that they gave, which basically it's kind of like a personality test, but it's more like scenario based. And I ranked really high in goal-oriented behaviors and things like that. So got offered the job, started at my company, and then got to learn about the industry, which is PEO, Professional Employer Organization, which the name itself is kind of funky, I guess. I don't know if it even fits the industry because it's still like, even when you learn what the acronym means, it's like you still don't really know what we do. A lot of people get it confused with PPO, like the network. Are they like, oh yeah, you work for that PPO? And I'm like, no, but we sell PPOs, which is, I don't know where the name actually was derived from. I guess I should probably research that. But what we do conceptually is we manage the operations for our clients. We are an outsourced HR department for our clients. Most of our clients are in the wheelhouse of anywhere from 10 employees to about 300. I would say that's really the scope of the clients that we work with. Some of these clients could be startup companies, could be companies that are established, that are in what's called the multi-vendor scenario, where in our solution, it's an all-in-one solution. So you work with one person, one point of contact, and we manage all aspects of your operations, from payroll, time and attendance, your onboarding, offboarding technology. We do all the employee benefits, the comprehensive benefits package. That's one of my specialties, is putting together the benefits package for employees. So when they go through open enrollment, all that work that gets done behind the scenes to even get to open enrollment, we create that. We do the plan designs, we create the contribution strategies and the strategies for the employees. And then we present the product, we educate the employees on their benefits packages. And then we also do risk management as well for our clients. So we evaluate risk, reduce liabilities. Then
Blanca, let me save some of that for the second segment.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm all like just going on.
And you're on a roll, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let her kind of give a good because that'll be good to probably get a little bit deeper into some of that stuff and what does that really mean on the second segment. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say. So I started working, back to the story, right? Yeah. I started working at this company, and I found out that I was like really good at this. I was really good at PEO, and I got my first client in 30 days. I went to training, and at the time my company was headquartered out of North Carolina. Went to training in North Carolina, and if you made your first sale and before coming to training, you were like recognized, and then if you made your first sale within 30 days, you were like recognized. So there was only like 2 people, myself and somebody else, that was recognized. And ever since then, I just became better and better, understanding the industry, understanding the clients who can benefit from our model and our solution. I've won 6 President's Clubs. I've been in the industry now 10 years. And for those who don't know what President's Club is, because I know not every industry has that, it's a level of recognition that, you work towards the whole year, and not just, making your quota, but making sure that you're hitting your revenue thresholds for the company. And that's like a big deal for us in our industry, right? Is making President's Club. So I've been able to gain that achievement 6 years. And then after a while, somebody messaged me on LinkedIn and said, hey, you're the PEO lady. It was actually a guy that told me that name. And I said, what? And he goes, yeah. He's like, you're the only girl, first of all, that really is out there marketing PEO, that's really out there talking about PEO. He goes, you're the one. He goes, I wouldn't even know about PEO if it wasn't for you. He was like, you're the PEO lady. And so it just stuck. And I said, you know what? That's actually really good branding and marketing. And I just used that. So and that's how I became the PEO lady.
So you've been in the business then for 10 years. Mm-hmm. With the same company for 10 years.
No, actually, I started with a privately held company that then got acquired and became publicly traded. And I was with that company 7 years.
Okay.
And now with my most recent company, I've been there 3 years.
Oh, okay. All right. So
There was a little split.
I got you. So prior to that, you've had pretty much sales experience all along the way, right? So you were born and raised in El Paso. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
All right. So, and you're now in San Antonio. So what was the train? You've been in Texas your whole life, it sounds like.
Yes. And not leaving. I love my state.
Yeah. It's a great state. We're fans of the freedom state that you really are. So what do you think it was like in El Paso that, and I'm assuming you went to, grade school, high school, graduated, and did you go off to college somewhere away from El Paso, or did you go to college in El Paso?
I went to UTEP. So for those that are watching, I'm a UTEP alumni. So I went to UT El Paso. And once I got my undergrad degree, I decided to leave El Paso to, and I actually, it's so funny because it was between Phoenix, Arizona and El Paso. So that was another area where I was applying to different companies. Just so happened San Antonio called me first, and that's how I ended up here. Yeah, but El Paso, and then my undergraduate degree was in biochemistry, so not a lot going on there in biochemistry, and I just knew that I needed to move, and it was probably the best decision of my career was to move and really, see what's out there in business. El Paso, I love my city where I was born, but it's really not a business metroplex or anything great going on over there.
Yeah, it's it's basically a border town, right?
The border town. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's probably not a whole lot. I mean, I've driven through El Paso however many times I've gone between, Arkansas to, driving out here from Kansas City, going through El Paso or whatever. But so the what do you think it was as far as influential that kind of got you from, because when you think biochemistry degree, you don't think you're going to be like this great salesperson being in the President's Club. Was there an influencer along the way that kind of sent you that direction, that you just felt more like it's a personality trait, right? Salespeople are outgoing, gregarious, right? They like interacting with people and everything. So was there anybody as far as like influenced as you were going through your transition from like biochemistry, how like you behind, well, even banking, right? You're behind a desk. You didn't want to do that any longer. Did you have some influence that sort of sent you down the path?
I'll say a couple of different things in regards to that question. So one, I've always been naturally talented and gifted in sales. So even though I was going to school for biochemistry pre-med, because I have a passion in both, and I've actually written about this passion that I have. I do have a passion in science, and I have a natural gift in science, but I've also have this sales passion and this sales ability, right? And a lot of times people can relate the two because it is very observational. It is in a lot of ways can be proven. Sales can be a science, which has been, an argument, right? Is sales learned, innate, an ability, or is it taught? Is it a science? Can you really learn how to sell? Is there like a method to selling? So there's a lot of correlation between sales and science, at least in my mind. So I wouldn't say necessarily somebody like pushed me out of science and I got into sales. I've always been good at both. And I ended up not going to medical school, and I ended up making a lot of money selling. And I was like, you know what? Why am I going to go to medical school? Like, I'm good. I don't need to pursue it. And then, I saw the people I went to school with, unless you were going to go to be a pharmacist, doctor. And even then I keep in touch with some of them that are doing their residency. They're just like hating life and it's miserable. So, bless their hearts for all the people that do those sacrifices and become doctors. And I just knew that after really working in sales, it wasn't for me. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then two, I have been very blessed to have amazing sales leaders throughout, my whole 20 years in sales. I've had some of the best mentors, trainers that have really opened up my eyes to different ways of selling, which, you know, from direct sales to consultative sales to tangible, intangible. So I've been very blessed, and I actually keep in touch with a majority of my sales leaders to this day. So I wouldn't say like they maybe made me pivot. It was just more of like, I really honed in on my skills, and I was able to develop the skills that I already had and become this sales guru, PEO lady. So that's, I don't know. Even my boss, I just had a conversation yesterday with a friend that ran into my boss at the bank, and he was just like, oh my gosh, it's like, she's so awesome. That girl can sell, you know, and working at a bank back then is different than obviously now. But I would say that that's been a blessing. That's really been what has led me to stay in this career. You know, they say you don't work for a company, right? You work for the leaders in your company. And that's truly how I feel. And that's how I feel at the company where I am today. I work for the owner of our company, Jay Starkman, and he's just an amazing person, just amazing. So I've another great sales leader in my path as I go through my career. Nice.
Awesome. Well, I know we're coming up on a break, and because I'm looking at the clock right now and everything. And I don't know if you want to talk about this maybe now or in the next segment, but I noticed that you've got a 40 under 40. It looks like some sort of a award there in the background. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that is? Is that part of the president's thing, or what is it?
40 under 40. Yeah. So here in San Antonio, we have the San Antonio Business Journal. So it's part of the Business Journal Awards, and they recognize 40 individuals, 40 under 40, that are recognized in business for different business accolades. It also includes, you have to be nominated. Somebody has to nominate you into that award. And then there's like different process that gets into now, you know, the people that make it. I was nominated in 2018, and I was class of 2019 for top 40 under 40. And it has to do not just with your work accomplishments for people that are really involved in the community, that are giving back, you know, in different aspects, whether it's volunteering, whether it's empowering women, whether, you know, they're just supportive, they're mentors. So they kind of take a look at, you know, what the person is doing, obviously in business, but everything else that they do in their lives. And yeah, I was happy to receive that award in 2019. So it's kind of a big deal here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's awesome. I was wondering what that was, because you were talking about your room earlier. And I was like, there's an award back there. I wonder what it is.
That was not 40 under 40. Next to it is a President's Club, but I put my trophies away. I had all of them. My office is under construction right now, so I couldn't fit them, and I just have that one right there. But cool. Yeah, you get a little trophy every time. Mm-hmm. Nice. This is I would say that one's the biggest one, because, you know, that's like a community recognition as well. So
yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So do they actually check your age, or you just tell them?
No, they check. How do they know you're under 40? Yeah, no, they check your age.
Because I was thinking, like, if you stay really healthy and looking young, you could probably get that award for 40 years.
Probably. Yeah. If they didn't check your age, no, they make sure you're under 40. Like, that's the whole concept behind it. I guess they're also trying to showcase like young people that are making it happen. You know, it's like, hey, look at these young people making it happen in business and the community, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things, especially like in financial advising. I remember when I first got started, and, you know, I had my mentor, and he had all the gray hair and everything. And then I was taking this information from this lady. She goes, "How old are you anyway?" I was like, "I'm old enough. I'm all licensed. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of you."
I got all my licenses.
Yeah, got the licenses. But those things are just kind of like alphabet soup behind your name. What really matters is, like, as soon as you pass the test, then you really got to start studying on how real world works.
Yep.
So anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll get more into what Blanca's doing as the PEO lady. We will be right back.
Estate planning. What does that even mean? When the inevitable happens for everyone on this planet, your estate plan kicks into action. But first, let's start with what an estate is. An estate is simply everything you own. Now, here's the issue and what needs to be understood when this event occurs. You only have two choices on this plan. Number 1, either you plan how your estate gets handed out and distributed to those you leave behind. Or number 2, your state decides who gets everything you own. For the first time ever, you can now take complete and total control of this plan that you've been deprived of for most of your life and generations before you. You can get personalized assistance along the way with a team of specialists whose job it is to make sure you have true peace of mind. It's important to understand that estate planning is a journey, and rest assured that our team will be available to you all along the way and at every step. Welcome to eState Plan, home of the last estate plan you'll ever need. To learn more, make sure to reach out to your local advisor licensed with us or go to our website for more information.
What's up, enrichers? Tim James here. I'm back with my co-host, Carter Wilcoxon. He's in the house. He hasn't talked about golf yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Our guest today is Blanca, and she is known better as the PEO lady. So, Blanca, why don't you get into that? Like, what is PEO? And what are you doing to help people, their businesses?
Yeah. So I kind of already gave the definition of the acronym, but
repetition's the mother of skill, and it's a tough one.
Yeah, right. It covers so many different areas. So I guess I want to explain how it started. So PEO started as a co-op back in the 80s. So small businesses started getting together to form a bigger group and to gain economies of scale when they approached a carrier. So it kind of started around workers' compensation insurance. These companies were building co-ops. They then would approach as a bigger carrier to get buying power with that carrier. And that's essentially how our industry started. It then, if you think about it, as you grow this pool, which is what we call a buying pool for risk, it's a risk pool. So that's what PEO is. And our risk pools for health insurance and workers' compensation insurance, we have about 50,000 lives in that pool. Okay, so companies and owners that come to work with us are now part of a larger group to be able to gain buying power and economies of scale for insurance products. A lot of times that means savings for the client. So we look at cost centers in the business where the client could potentially be saving. And health insurance usually is the number one largest expense in a company, payroll, and then, there are other insurance products like workers' compensation, depending on the risk of your company. So we go in, we evaluate, we quote them through our master policies. Typically, we uncover a lot of savings there. And then that concept then not only the insurance aspect of things, but now the operational aspect of HR compliance, building a company's HR infrastructure, their technology products, and then overall just looking at, payroll compliance and really everything that involves having employees and how to operate and how to administer having employees. Mm-hmm. And so I like to say we're the back end office essentially of a company, as well as we're also providing them leverage and buying power with our carriers. So it's a lot to digest and comprehend. It's really well known in the East Coast and West Coast, but as you get into middle central states, it's not as well known. I've been putting the effort and the groundwork here in Texas to really get people to know what PEO is and how it really is it's not a traditional way of doing business, kind of like what you're doing. It's unconventional. It's not a traditional way. It's an all-in-one solution. It's not a multi-vendor way. Owners start their business. They hire a payroll company. They hire an insurance broker. They hire another insurance broker. They get an HR person. They go buy some technology to onboard people. And it's all kind of discombobulated. Nobody talks to anybody. Everybody's charging a fee. And so we've brought that all in together, an all-in-one solution with one point of contact.
Nice. Simplify.
Yeah. So Blanca, whenever you're talking about like insurance carriers, then, so you are kind of the go-between, or you're behind the scenes, or where does the insurance carriers kind of come into play? And can you name maybe a couple of the bigger ones that you deal with on a regular basis?
For sure. For health insurance, we deal with Aetna. Aetna is our main health insurance carrier. That's who holds our master policy. For workers' comp, we deal with AIG nationally. We're a national company, so we deal with national carriers. And then Texas, of course, Texas Mutual is the big carrier here, which we also work with them. So those are our main carriers. We have ancillary carriers and supplemental benefits carriers, and that goes through MetLife. And then we do the 401k through Slavic. So those are our primary carriers that we use.
Gotcha. So, so walk me through then if tomorrow, if you could wave a magic wand and have your ideal client, whatever your ideal client looks like to you, who would the ideal client be for optimally to have the greatest year that Blanca could have?
Ooh, okay. Well, there's so many clients that would be good, but I'll give you maybe 2 examples. An example of a client that would really benefit from a PEO would be a client that is in growth mode and really trying to scale their business. A lot of the owners we work with are not well-versed in HR or compliance. Somebody that maybe is really good at performing their business, whether it's construction or one of the skilled trade. Or I always use doctors, because doctors are usually really good at, what they do, but they're not good at administration of a business itself. So those are just 2 examples. So don't take it personal if you're a doctor out there. Just 2 examples of clients we work with. But somebody that's wanting to scale their business, we lay the infrastructure. And I always like to describe this as a house, right? So it's a business. You want to make sure you have a solid foundation. Same thing with a house, because if you don't, then your house, when you're building on it, it's going to fall apart. And same thing with a business. If you don't have a solid infrastructure for your business, solid procedures, solid protocols, your business is not going to do well, or it's not going to be able to scale as fast as you may want it to scale. Compliance issues can also come into play as you're growing. Once you hit over 50, you now are in another world of compliance. So if you're in a fast growing business and you're ready to scale past 50, that's a perfect client for us. Another client would be a multi-state client, a client or somebody that's in a current state but wants to grow to multi-state. We are set up in every single state, and we also set up all the licenses, tax accounts, and all the compliance and regulatory items that a client needs to have per state. We already have all that set up for them. So I would say those would be 2 good examples. Somebody that's approaching maybe 50, that's in growth mode, 50 employees, or approaching that number, and somebody that's multi-state. And I say 50 because also ACA compliance starts at 50, guys.
Yeah, gotcha. So just out of curiosity, then I'll make a safe assumption: any industry that fits that description.
Any
right?
industry.
It doesn't matter. Restaurant industry, financial services industry, dental, or
dental practices for sure. Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
So what about like maybe some of those smaller like boutique type of shops, or when I say boutique, like I think about my dentist. He has like 3 assistants or whatever. It's like him and like 7 people, but he's got a fairly successful practice. That wouldn't be someone that would even be looking towards needing your services. Is that right?
Well, not necessarily. As far as they may not be big on the HR or the compliance pieces of our business, but a lot of what attracts those smaller clients to us is the benefits that we offer and then the cost that they get. So some of these smaller, like your dental practice is a perfect example. They may have already shopped for medical benefits and are paying really high premiums, or carriers won't pick them up. Some carriers you have to have 5 people or more to form a group to get health insurance. So people come to me all the time. It's like, hey, I've been trying to quote it. I'm quoting a company right now that's like, hey, we've been wanting to offer insurance for a long time. It's too expensive. We can't afford it. We can't find good plans. So they come to us and really lean on us and our guidance. And because now they're small, they're 10 people, 12 people, or a small medical dental practice is now part of a larger group and gets that buying power that we have with our carriers. So that's really what entices smaller companies to work with us. Not so much the scalability or the growth factor, but hey, now I have great employee benefits for attraction and retention of my assistants, my hygienists or whatever.
So then the benefit then for someone smaller is that they really get to piggyback off of being in this bigger group, is what you're saying.
Correct.
And then they reap the benefits of that cost. Plus, they're also giving these nice benefits that they usually couldn't afford if it was just on their own. But they're just living in this pool that you guys, you said something like 50,000
lives
or
employees.
Oh, okay. So, and you're a national company. So do you have a lot of travel now that we've got, what's been going on over the last 2 years? Are you still able to telecommute and do sales things, or how do you find your ideal clients, I guess?
Yeah. So, okay. So last year I traveled a lot. So 2021 was a big travel year for me. Obviously 2020, I did not travel. I did, all Zoom, but business in Texas is done different. Like people want to meet with people in person.
Sure.
Like, the whole Zoom and being on a webinar or conference like this is not, in Texas, it's not that big. I mean, maybe East Coast, West Coast, they'd be like, oh yeah, just send me a Zoom link. But here, like people want to see you. People want to shake your hand. People want to do business with people. It's all about relationship in Texas. So 2021, I covered the whole state. So I was traveling everywhere. I actually also gained my first client in North Carolina. I have a client in Oregon as well. Clients out of my state that I manage are for referral based, right? I don't actively call on other states. It's all referral based, whether word of mouth from another client or from my LinkedIn and my social media platform. Somebody that saw one of my videos and said, I want to work with you. And, we are a national company, so I can work with any client. We're licensed in every state. But I'm in my 10th year, guys. So you got to remember, I'm not, just starting. Most of my clients right now are referral based from previous clients or current clients or clients that have left, perhaps thinking that the grass was greener on the other side and come back to me. And my social media. I mean, I do a lot of educational campaigns, educational videos of how we help companies. And right now my big campaign is, hey, are you ready for 2021? Is your 2022, is your business ready for the new year? Are you up to speed in technology? Are you compliant? How ready is your business for the new year? And so that's my big campaign right now. And really, are you ready to step into the future? Because in Texas, guys, I mean, and maybe even it's still in Phoenix, there's very traditional conservative businesses that are scared to grow, even though they have the growth potential, and are scared to pass that 50 mark threshold. That's like the big leagues now. And they don't want to change. They're just like, I don't care. I don't want to change. This is how I've been doing it for 50 years. I'm going to do it like this until I die, kind of thing. And it's like, hey, no, Mr. Business Owner, there's a better way to do things. You don't have to, keep using a typewriter, which I say that because I saw somebody using a typewriter, or clocking that big old punch card. You don't have to do that anymore. Like, there's better ways. And so it's just educating your prospects, educating, and that's really why I've been so successful as the PEO lady, because I educate business owners how they can do things better, what is out there in technology, how they can streamline their operations, how they can consolidate their vendors, and hopefully also reduce their expenses at the same time.
Yeah. So what I'm interested in then, if you don't mind, like, who would you consider like your competition then? Because it's such a unique, business model. It sounds like, do you even consider there is any competition? Are you way ahead of it? I mean, what's the competitive advantage on working with you versus whoever your competition is?
So I think the last count that we saw was like over 500 PEOs in the US. So there's a lot of competition. Okay. Most of the bigger companies that are in my space are publicly traded, and I've been there, done that. I choose not to work for a publicly traded company anymore. I prefer to work with a privately held PEO, which is where I'm at now. But I mean, my biggest competitor right now is ADP Total Source. They're the number one largest in the US. Okay. But they lose the relationship factor with the client. They lose the small business feel aspect with the client. They lose the consultative aspect where it's just about, I would say it's more about just bottom line, at that point. So working with my company, working with Engage, working with myself, really brings a consultative approach where we really listen to the needs of our clients. Our offering is flexible, even though we offer an all-in-one solution. We don't force the client to take the whole solution if they don't want to, right? Some companies in our industry do. So it's all or none, and we don't play in that space. We want to be flexible. We really want to sell the client a product that they need, not just like, hey, here's our solution. Now you're going to buy everything. So we're willing to be more flexible in our offering, as well as we have that relationship feel. That is why I'm successful in Texas, because that is how business is done here. They want to see you. They want, I've done Christmas parties with all my clients. I take them out. We go golfing, talked about golfing.
Oh, boom. There it was, Tim. I didn't bring it up first.
I was at the Spurs game last night with one of my clients, is really building on that relationship with your client. I get to know their kids, their families. It's just a different feel. When you're working with such a big company, you really don't get that. And so,
well, so I'm curious, when you say your client, is that like the CEO is what you mean you're hanging out with? I'm assuming
most of the time it's CEO. I hang around a lot with vice presidents, CEOs, executives, HR directors. Those are mainly the people that I deal with when
I would think that you would deal with a lot of CFOs actually. Yeah,
controllers, CFOs,
okay.
All of them. I was with a CFO last night actually, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So now enrichers, just so you know, we will definitely in all of our show notes, you'll be able to have a page, you'll have the bio, you'll have the access. I know a lot of our enrichers are financial advisors that maybe they might need to have a solution. And of course, they're all over the country. So we'll make sure that the contact information is in there. If you have some more information that you need, the PEO lady might be able to help you. I mean, I guess it's worth a phone call or whatever, because a lot of the advisors that we work with small and medium-sized businesses. So I could assume that would be a very good inroad maybe for the two of you to reciprocate back and forth.
Definitely. And we do get most of we don't do any type of commercials or anything like that, or billboards, which some of our competitors do. We solely is word of mouth, and we do have a great broker program and referral program. So we do have a referral partner program where we reciprocate business, and we establish that relationship after maybe talking. So if any of the advisors want more information on that referral program, we have that.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Good segment, guys.
Yes. Fantastic.
Good information, new stuff. Hopefully the
advisors are a fire hose a little bit, because I've never really gotten deep into I've heard of a PEO. In fact, I got a buddy that works for a PEO. He's a golfer, went to USC. We're good buddies. I call him Richie Rich. That's his nickname. Rich Heineck, if you listen to this podcast. He's out here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I remember him being connected, something about PEO. I never really asked him, what does that even mean? So thank you for educating myself today.
Well, you guys would be surprised. I have friends of over 10 years that don't even know what I do. They literally are like, we don't know what Blanca does. Like, she's just really good at it. And I have people that think I'm a realtor. Like, and then when I start explaining to people what I do, then they're like, okay, whatever. Like, it's just,
you're helping business owners solve big problems, and you're making it simple.
There you go.
That's why you're in business. Do a good job at it.
Nice.
All right. Well, we're going to take another break. And when we get back, we're going to flip the script and let Blanca ask me anything she wants on health. We'll be right back.
You want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently. We're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com.
Welcome back, enrichers. Tim James here with my co-host Carter Wilcox. And today in the house, we've got Blanca Abbud. And now it's time for the health segment. So now that you guys have made all that money, now you want to be able to enjoy it for a long time, because it's about quality of life. Because without health, wealth really doesn't matter. So what questions you got for me, Blanca?
Yeah. So what I was explaining is that I deal with traditional health insurance and products. So, companies are always asking about their renewals and how they can keep their renewals low. And one of the strategies that we've been able to implement is a wellness initiative or a wellness factor. Now, not all carriers offer a wellness program. And really the only carrier that has any type of a decent wellness program is Humana. But we're always trying to incorporate wellness aspects. So my question was, what kind of program would be a wellness program that could help the employees be healthier, which would lead to lower utilization on their medical insurance? And what could they do at work? So I'm just kind of thinking of what you do and translating that into a work environment.
And then also helping companies that don't qualify to qualify.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Very sick companies that either got kicked off of their insurance or don't qualify.
Okay.
That was my.
Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is it's real easy. The bad news is that the individual employees have to participate in their own health. That's what it boils down to. So what we've done is, like, we it's really smart to outsource certain things. I do it in my business. And it's worked out very well, because there's certain things that I don't do well. It's not my will. There's certain things I do well. I want to do those all day long, but there's certain things that I don't. But when it comes to your health, you can't just go to a doctor or go over here and say, hey, I got, I'm not feeling that good. What should I do? Well, here, take this pill. That's not going to be the solution ever. Okay. It's just not going to work. Right. So, and all people have to do is look around. We're pretty sick. We talk about this every time. It's like, we're the sickest human beings have ever been in the history of humanity. So things are not working. So when it comes to corporate health, it really based on the individual. So we just take an approach where we've actually had, because I used to do more corporate wellness. Now I'm just kind of direct to, retail to people in their homes and stuff. But a lot of employers, like you said, they want to help their employees. They love their employees. They want to do good things for them, but everything's so damn expensive. They can't even offer health insurance. I talked to this one guy, Mike, out of Chicago, and he was like, he's like, is there something we can do with your company? Like, can I just I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, cause this stuff makes me feel so good. I'm thinking maybe I'll just, for my employees, the health insurance plan will be, I'll just pay for your stuff, and you ship it to the office and we'll just use it. Or I'll have them. I said, well, you should have them pay for at least half of it, because then they'll use it. That's just the way it is.
Have some skin in the game, baby.
Yeah, make them put some skin in the game, and you cover half of it. And then I said, because there's other things I can share with you that you can do that will be an employer expense that you can write off and everything to change the environment. So the first thing that we do is we look at the body again like an intelligent system. So I looked like years ago. Let's talk about lighting. I was telling you about this back in the day. You can look this up. There was like the motor companies back in Detroit, right? Lots of people were getting sick, time off. All that stuff is bad for production. Like, they want a worker to just be there working, right? It's just, imagine if you're sick for a month. That's probably not great for the production of the company, right? But people do get sick, things happen, but they want to eliminate that. So what they found out is that the fluorescent light bulbs in these working areas it's not a natural light. Okay. Let's just be clear. It's fake. It's a man-made light, and they're dangerous. So they replaced them with full spectrum or wide spectrum lighting that was more replicative of the sun. So a more natural light. Well, guess what? Less time off, less sick days, all this stuff. So just by changing the freaking lights, which is the environment, very simple, people got healthier. That's why it's really good to have your windows open, crack your windows, fresh air, get natural lighting. It's really important. Your eyes work on this stuff. This is why, and the reverse effect of this is when you go to bed at night, that's why we tell our clients to turn off all screens, computers, laptops, screens, your cell phones, all that stuff, and don't look at those blue lights, because they're tricking your body to think it's still daylight out. so you won't kick into melatonin production, and you're disrupting your sleep all the way through. So it, light can be good and it can be bad. So again, man-made light's typically a problem. In nature, when does it light up? When the sun comes up, and it's dark when the sun goes down. It's just, that's the way we've been programmed. So we got to get back to the circadian rhythms of life, and lighting is one thing. So we go in and we help them with the environment. We clean up the light, and then I show them how to do that. And then we show them how to clean up their air quality. And that might be stuff that we would install in an HVA system. So, maybe UV lights inside to kill all microbes and stuff, which if people were really concerned about that in schools and office buildings, they would have just put UV lights in the HVAC systems and not worried about anything, because it kills viruses in a nanosecond. So, but air purification systems, standalone units, stuff like that. And some of the things are really toxic. Commercial buildings are really, really toxic. The paints are off-gassing inside. The carpets are made out of crude oil. These are off-gassing formaldehydes that people are breathing in 24/7. I mean, people take...
So basically work is making them sick.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with the home too, because there's carpets in the home and there's paint in the home. So homes and offices, they're really toxic. They're like chemical coffins. And the more, energy efficient they are, the more they're just sealed up and they don't breathe. That's why you have to you got to get your air dialed in. I mean, we take 20,000 breaths a day. So we look at the light, we look at the air. What's next? Water. Okay. We're working on the water. So then I show them how to put a badass system in, so people can go it's like drinking like Hunza water, basically. Just like they're drinking from the side of a glacier pre the chemical revolution, right? Now the industrial revolution, for all this crap got into our ecosystem that's so pervasive today. So all the water is triple purified, restructured, charged molecular hydrogen. And now these people are drinking, they're breathing in this freaking badass air. They got great light that's more conducive to their well-being and their health. And they're putting in this awesome water every day. And then boom, 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 we go down the line. If they have a coffee pot there and they're going to have coffee, we get the moldy coffee out and I show them where to go buy the other one. And then, it's just one thing after another. And then what we do is we'll do like every 90 days, we do like some type of a challenge, because people like challenges. So usually we kick off with a weight loss challenge for those who want to participate, and then we'll maybe do a no sugar challenge, or we'll do like a challenge,
cool.
to get them off of like their stimulants. Hey, do you want to get off the 5-hour energy drinks and the Red Bulls and the Monster drinks, all these things that are like literally killing people. Like I can't even believe that shit is illegal, but people are so tired that they got to stimulate themselves to the day, right? Just to get through the day, they go home and crash, right? And then they repeat and do it all over. I
want to know more. How do you replace the stimulants that?
Well, we just get the crap out of your body and we flood your body with nature, stuff like this. Like Green 85 is a nutrient-dense formula that people can scoop, drink it, and with water, or mix it with a nut milk or seed milk or whatever. Even if you have a really taste aversion to greens, then you can mix it with like non-sweetened cranberry juice, as an example. That was one, actually a football player was able to do it and it worked for him. But most people, it tastes like mild. It's like a tea. Yeah. And when you start replacing these nutrients, man, you get your life back. So then we teach people, we teach them about sleep. This is something they're going to do at home, but it's very important because, without sleep, you're dead in 11 days. So it's kind of an important deal, right? Oxygen, 4 to 7 minutes, the most important. Water, about 11 days. Sleep, about 11 days. You're dead. So these are three main things. And then the food comes in next, because food is like, you can live without food for a couple months. You can make it because you have fat and stuff that you can burn and stuff like that. So, and then sunshine, very important. So the other thing we can do is we can bring in earthing and grounding. So this is another concept. Like right now, like this, see, my desk right here, this is this pad right here. This is grounding me. And I have a foot pad down. I usually work with bare feet. This is
I have a pad for mine. I have my pad.
Awesome. So stuff like this. And I was just interviewed on another podcast by a guy. The second time he had me come back, and it's like, dude, he's like, I just got that grounding pad for my bed. And he's like, I slept. He goes, and he has a Whoop, I think it was called. It's a thing that measures like sleep patterns and recovery and all that stuff. He went from a 0 to a 100 scale. He was a 68. One night on the earthing pad, 97.
Wait, hold on. There's a pad that you sleep on?
Yeah, and there's also sheets. I like the sheets better because the sheets have silver threads in them, And then because the pads are good, but for me, it's just like in the wintertime, they get kind of cold, right? When I first get in there, if you kind of roll around a little bit, they can be cold parts. So I don't want it.
Okay.
I want to be warm and toasty. So I got the sheet, and then basically all this is the Earth's natural frequency. That's all it is.
Okay. And
you
these are called
earthing or grounding sheets. Earthing or grounding sheets.
Okay,
right?
Got it.
I'm just giving you some examples. So we go through and I put this whole thing together. We do challenges every 90 days. We do a different challenge to get people excited and get them to do something, take action, and let them know it's just a challenge. It's going to be here, and then it's not like, oh God, I have to do this forever. Because when people think they have to do it forever, they never get started. Hey, let's just do a 30-day challenge, 60 to 90-day challenge. And a lot of people at work are like, hey, let's go in, and they start making bets who's going to lose the most weight, and they do all this fun stuff. But it gets them moving, and that's the whole key is we have to get movement, right? But I'm telling you what, we get in there and we change the lights, we change the air quality, we change the water, and a couple other little things, and then we put them on our products that are going to go internally and start changing the internal terrain and replacing what's been missing out of the soil. These people are going to come back fast. Like they're going to come back real fast. Our program is nothing. It's not rocket science. It's just basically common sense. And we've bottled stuff up to help people speed up the process. We deliver clinics in a box to them for the people that don't have the time, energy, or maybe money to, fly to like a Hippocrates type health institute, which I still think everybody should go when they can. It's great to go into full immersion and get all that education and have other people make sprout juice for you. It's great, but, so these are some of the things that people can do in a corporate level. And I would just say this, that, as far as, what people look like on this, they're going to look about 5 years younger, and they're going to feel about 10 years younger within a 6-month period. Easy. And you can ask Carter, like, if I always underplay everything unless it's like super awesome. Right. So, but it's like, cause I want people like, it's just like, I would rather like, what is it? I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I want to underpromise and overdeliver. You're probably going to feel even much better. And what happens is they get the ball rolling. We teach them these tactics. This is stuff they can take with them for life. And then it goes back. It's so cool because now they have spouses and kids and grandkids and uncles and aunts, and they start seeing the changes in them. They're like, what are you doing? And then they can share it with them. So it's like a ripple effect. So it can start in the office, or it could start at home and it goes to the office. It goes both ways. But it really starts with the individual putting their health as a priority. So what I'm able to do then is with the owners of these companies, what we'll do is we'll come in and I will kick off these challenges. And I do a virtual meeting. We meet everybody, they get 30, 40, 50 people in a room or 100 or whatever. And they have to maybe sometimes they do shifts. If they have, 200 employees, whatever, might have to do 4 calls, whatever, doesn't matter. And we get them started and we just get them rocking and rolling. So they don't have to be the expert. They're outsourcing that to me. And then they're really, really taking care of their employees. They're really giving them the gift of health, and we're bringing it right direct to them. So it's pretty powerful. And awesome. If they get enough people to participate, yeah. And if they're willing to do it, they'll start qualifying for health stuff. These people will start coming off their medications. And again, we have a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, don't claim to be, but when you get all this man-made chemicals and crap out of your body and all the impacted fecal material that most people are carrying around, and then you flood the body with nature, people respond very well. And then, many of our clients are off of medications. Some go quickly, some take longer. It just depends on how comfortable they are with wanting to do that kind of stuff. So, and of course, then with better health, they're going to have a better culture. Everything's going to get better in the employee's life. And the bottom line, the return on investment is huge for the business owner. But yeah. I think what's better than that is they get to lay their head down on the pillow at night and realize that they're really doing something that's really good for their employees that they might not have been able to get anywhere else in their life.
That is awesome. So the reason I was asking that is because unfortunately, I do go into a lot of companies and there is, obesity and a lot of very sick people. And, I've only had one time where a client just had their renewal was just so big that, and then they had to do away with benefits. And that's just such a hard thing. So I do believe in homeopathic. I am a believer in what you're saying. I practice a lot of that myself. I didn't know about some of the stuff that you said, but, I think just putting it out there, because sometimes the individual won't do it, but if it's like coming from work,
Yeah.
I know what you say, like that, like the individual has to want to do it, right? But I feel like if it's coming from the place where they work or their boss, I feel like maybe they'll be more compelled because, you know, people don't know these things. They're not educated in these areas. I know for sure Texas lacks in a lot of that. And it just breaks my heart because I deal with health and health insurance, and when people are in the hospital or dying, and it's just some of these are things that happen are preventable. And basically what you're saying is how to prevent these things from happening. And by making some of these changes, which you, like you said, are small changes, they can actually prevent some of these things. So
yeah, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Benjamin Franklin.
There you go. Working in health insurance, guys, it's made me definitely see things different. I'll tell you that. And I try to practice being healthy because I always, like, I've seen like unhealthy insurance brokers, and I'm like, how are you selling health insurance? Like,
yeah, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah,
Your skin looks
like,
pretty good. You must take pretty good care of yourself, so that's good. Good on you.
Thank you. I really try, like, a lot of the things that you've said, I really incorporated, even like the healthy home filtration system and the HVAC. Now, I don't know if they use the infrared technology or that you mentioned. I think it's a different technology, but
that's the UV lights.
Yeah,
like
I don't
a blue
think
light. It just kills microbes. They also put them in water systems too, but you can put those in HVAC systems. And then, like behind me over here, I've got like an industrial little thing. These are used a lot in dentists and doctors' offices because a lot of these little people just don't know, right? So I had to do a ton of research on this stuff because I want the best for me. I want the best inputs for my body. It's like, all these filters will have a pound of carbon in them, and that's fine. And they've got some pre-filters, and maybe they have HEPA with it too, which is great. But the one I found has 15 pounds of carbon mixed with a zeolite matrix because the regular carbons are not picking up these the formaldehyde that's off-gassing from carpet. And most people have carpet. So you have to have the zeolite mixture in there to get those out. Otherwise, you're embalming yourself every day, right? That's just what you're doing on a micro level every day. 20,000 breaths a day. You're embalm. I'm just going to the mortuary on my way, you know. So that cleans it. It's got the HEPA filter, pre-filters, blah, 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 blah. So, and I've had half the people come into my room when I do testing. I just bring them into the room and they look at me and they're like, whoa, what's going on in here? Like this, I feel like energized or something. This air smells really good. Like without me saying nothing, half of them do that. The other half, I have to prompt them a little bit. Like, what do you think about the air quality in here? It's like, how does it make you feel? Like, I think I feel pretty good. So it's like my room smells like fresh mountain air, even though there's carpet in here. Now where I'm moving, I'm actually building a chemical-free home. Carter, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm doing a whole documentary on building a chemical-free home. So I don't know if it's going to take me a year, 2 years, but I'll get it done. So I'm going to build a whole toxic-free, chemical-free home. And then we're going to make a documentary out of it and share other people's stories that had to do the same thing with cancer and all kinds of stuff.
No, you didn't tell me that. That's kind of,
that is awesome. Oh my God. It reminds me a little bit. I have a client right now that's working on, they do water systems, water filtration, and now the air filtration systems, and they're calling it a healthy home, where like even like the house monitors your sleep, and it has like an app that goes with it called the Healthy Home app. I think they're still working out a lot of it, but it really ties into what you're saying. But I'm wondering if they use the same products you do. I can't really compare. But that's the concept is, healthy home, or I guess what I was trying to say, healthy workplace environment.
Yeah. Well, in the first place to start, like I always tell everybody, is like start with yourself. So if this is something you're interested in, I could just get you started on it, and you could do it for yourself, see if it works for you. And if you get good results, then you'd feel compelled to tell other people about it. And we could probably set up something. I could probably get another coach or two. I could probably find one, train them, and then I could start up a corporate division again. But I mean, I enjoy doing it. I can, the more people for me, if there's a room of 40 people, great. If there's 400, better. 4,000, awesome.
Awesome.
But the bottom line is, even if there's one person there and that person will change, I'm ready to do the meeting if they're really committed.
Well, you just really put me onto a lot of things that I had no idea about that I want to start doing. So
you have no idea.
I had no idea. That was awesome. I mean, Carter told me that you had a lot of unconventional ways, but some of the things that you mentioned, and I know some of them from my own research, but I'm going to start researching as soon as we get off of this podcast.
Well, yeah, and Blanca, the thing to give a quick backstory again about how Tim and I, started the Health and Wealth podcast, it was really with helping people understand that there is a connection between your health and your wealth, right? And as Tim said earlier, it doesn't matter how much money you got. If you don't have any health, it's not going to matter, right? So longevity is really, really important. But whenever I first met Tim and he gave me his backstory about how he healed himself, and he touched on a little bit, it was basically an hour of him really walking me through soup to nuts on how his journey was formed and where he started and where he ended up and everything. And then after he said all that, I was like, dude, you just blew my mind. Here's an idea. Let's start our own podcast. We'll call it the Health and Wealth Podcast, right? So that's why, we started the podcast. But, it started with Tim's got his own podcast, the Health Heroes Show. And, he's 100+ episodes in, and he's learned all of these things from all these health gurus all over the country that are unconventional, AKA just didn't go through the Rockefeller School of Medicine, basically, right? That understand the real ways to make better health decisions, on a more homeopathic, as you mentioned earlier, Blanca, on a way. And I've incorporated almost everything that Tim has shared with me. Most recently, I know not that I plan on talking about the sauna again, but the sauna for me, that home sauna, single person,
that thing's awesome,
is so amazing. And that is infrared. So when you said infrared, it made me think about that. But yeah, he is a wealth of information, and you're just scratching the surface, just so you know.
Well, that's great.
She's an implementer. I can tell. Well, so Blanca, thank you for coming on the show today. We really appreciate your time and giving us on the PEO lady and what you do and what PEO is and how you're helping people and helping businesses. And I hope that the people listening, there's some connections there that can be made to, help out your clients or help yourself out for those that are listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, enrichers, thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. To be able to see all of our previous guests, like our wonderful guest Blanca today, feel free to go over to our website at www.thehealthandwealthpodcastshow.com and make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. For my fantastic co-host, Mr. Chemical Free Body, Tim James, I am Carter Wilcoxon, CEO and founder of CSI Financial Group and co-founder of Epic Services. Thanking you for joining us for another episode of the podcast. Blanca, thank you again so much for coming on and sharing your backstory, as well as enlightening, I believe, the two of us on the PEO and the PEO lady. Make sure to check out the PEO lady and all of the show notes that we will have in the description, not subscription. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Subscribe and then read the descriptions.
Subscribe and describe, right? Exactly what it is. So thank you again. So,
thank you guys for having me.
Our pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, enrichers, have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will see you next time on the Health and Wealth Podcast Show. Thank you, everybody. Hey, enrichers, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Carter Wilcoxon.
And I'm your host, Tim James, and by God, we are committed to helping you guys have fat wallets, flat bellies. So tune in again for another episode, and make sure to like, share, and drink a lot of water.
Or beer.
You have just listened to the Health and Wealth Podcast with Carter and Tim.